Hello and welcome to Chabot News for March 23, 2023. My name is Evan, and today we'll be covering the Dominion lawsuit and all the effects of this Bay Area weather. In entertainment news this week, Chris will tell us about the latest news about Bad Bunny. And finally, in sports, Bruce will tell us about soccer legend Wayne Rooney. All that and more coming up on Chabot News. Will a $1.6 billion defamation case against Fox News go to trial, or won't it? That's what a judge now has to decide after television and Dominion voting systems presented arguments for 2 days. Dominion says Fox News knowingly promoted false claims that its voting machines helped rig the 2020 presidential elections. CNN's Jessica Snyder has details.
A Delaware judge now weighing whether the $1.6 billion defamation case against Fox News should go to a jury trial.
It's my distinct honor to introduce the Commander-in-Chief and the President of the United States, my friend Donald J. Trump.
And if Fox Corporation Chairman Rupert Murdoch should be called to testify. Delaware Superior Court Judge Eric Davis told lawyers Wednesday he holds a special role at Fox Corporation, that he may be able to be compelled to be here. Lawyers for Dominion Voting Systems have already asked the court to let them call Rupert Murdoch and his CEO son Lachlan if the case goes to trial next month. Fox is resisting the effort, saying the Murdochs have limited knowledge of how Fox News made editorial decisions and would be burdened by having to appear in person. The judge said it is possible they could appear over video conferencing if called. Both have already given depositions in the case, with Rupert Murdoch acknowledging some Fox News hosts endorsed election conspiracy theories and then saying, "I would have liked us to be stronger in denouncing it in hindsight." In the days after the 2020 election, Fox News repeatedly featured guests like Sidney Powell.
It is one huge criminal conspiracy.
She and others accused Dominion of using its machines and software to rig the 2020 election. Fox News says it can't be liable for airing inherently newsworthy allegations from public figures like Powell and Trump's former attorney Rudy Giuliani. Judge Eric Davis questioned a Fox lawyer, asking if top executives had the power to block the network's hosts from booking pro-Trump attorneys that they knew would promote false claims about Dominion. Fox's lawyer said that even if the Murdochs or other executives were aware of the bookings, they can't be held liable because they weren't directly involved in the decision-making to put the guests on shows. It's not enough to show that these executives have the ability to step in, Fox lawyer Erin Murphy argued. She also said the Murdochs and other top executives don't control what goes on the air. But Rupert Murdoch, in his deposition, acknowledged that he could have stopped Trump's legal team, which peddled election lies, from appearing on the network's air, but didn't.
Thanks, Jessica. The judge in the case now has to decide to send the case to trial. If he believes the evidence in either direction is convincing enough, he could make a decision on his own. The third possibility is that Fox News and Dominion reach a settlement on their own. Now to the weather. A deadly and damaging storm cycle is keeping California in its grip as a 12th atmospheric river system moves through the state. Several cities are assessing damage from the latest rounds of torrential rains, flooding, high winds, and rising mountain snow. Around 115,000 homes are without power after falling trees took out power lines, especially in the Bay Area. Still, there could be a couple of silver linings to the seemingly never-ending storm clouds that have plagued the state this winter. Laura Aguirre has the latest.
The San Francisco area was hit particularly hard in the latest wave of unrelenting rain and high winds overnight. This semi-truck toppled in strong gusts, sweeping the Bay Bridge. The driver climbed out on his own.
Pretty crazy. Saw some boats tilting across the waves.
In one case, big boats. At least 3 commercial barges broke loose and smashed into one of the city's historic bridges.
How they ended up in the channel, I'm not quite sure.
In the Bay Area, authorities say 2 people were killed in separate cases of trees falling on vehicles. Here in San Bernardino County, an SUV washed away into a tree. Fire officials there say the driver managed to climb out before waves swept his car downriver. Across the state, several cities have seen up to 200% jumps in rainfall this winter. One upshot, the U.S. Drought Monitor says the state's drought conditions have eased dramatically since December. From more than 80% of the state considered severe or worse, down to just 8. Mountain snowfall is at near record highs in some areas. In the Sierra Nevadas, the Berkeley Central Sierra Snow Lab says it's the second snowiest season since they started tracking in 1946, with another 3 to 4 feet dumped there since Tuesday.
The snowpack's expected to stick around probably into July, if not into August at this point.
Meaning the slopes could be busy all through summer. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Thanks, Laura. Now let's turn our attention to the wind in the Bay Area. On Tuesday, March 14th, throughout the Bay Area, wind gusts approached 100 miles per hour due to what meteorologists call a bomb cyclone. A bomb cyclone is a powerful, rapidly intensifying storm associated with a significant drop in atmospheric pressure. Top wind speeds reached 97 miles per hour on Loma Prieta above 3,000 feet, the highest peak in the Santa Cruz Mountains, about 10 miles west of Highway 17 in Santa Clara County. The gusts were the strongest ever recorded in the Bay Area. Several other parts of the Bay also recorded wind speeds in the 90-mile-per-hour range. The weather caused officials to delay 25 flights and cancel 10 more scheduled for the following day. About 300,000 PG&E customers went for 2 days without power. The weather remains the big story in the Bay Area and has been for the last few months. Let's turn our attention to the roads. Heavy rainfall and flooding in the Bay Area have caused multiple road closures and sinkholes, including this one on A Street in Hayward, which collapsed due to a sinkhole opening up near San Lorenzo Creek. The road has been closed since late December and is expected to reopen mid-March 2023. Residents are urged to remain cautious as the soil is still waterlogged and at risk of flooding. Residents on A Street will have to wait a little while longer for things to go back to normal in their neighborhood. Enough about the weather. Let's go to Chris for this week's entertainment news. Chris?
Thank you, Evan. Now, this week in entertainment news, a mother says that she's concerned for her children after a buffalo showed up on her property not once but twice. And no, she doesn't live in Montana or Wyoming. Her home is in Georgia, about an hour outside of Atlanta. Candace McGowan reports on the bison are pets of her celebrity neighbor.
It's a beautiful morning, ain't it? Rapper Rick Ross posted this video on his Instagram on his property Tuesday with his horse and buffalo on his more than 350 acres. But those same buffalo took a walk last week to the neighborhood next door and ended up in Antoinette Barnes' yard.
I have an 8-year-old and I have a 10-year-old, and my children are afraid to go outside.
There are still imprints near where Antoinette's children play after the buffalo were spotted twice last week. Antoinette called the sheriff's office and even tried to talk to her celebrity rapper and entrepreneur neighbor Rick Ross, but only spoke with the staff.
I'm over here as a concerned mother. So why would you, control your buffalo, control your bull. That's all I'm saying.
The Fayette County Sheriff's Office posted to their Facebook page and said they received the reports about the buffalo, saying while it's legal to own livestock like cattle, sheep, horses, goats in Fayette County, the owner is responsible for properly restraining the animals. If the owner is shown to be negligent, they could be charged. As for the buffalo, Antoinette said someone came and wrangled them up last week. Video from News Drone 2 shows them back on Ross's property as seen on the rapper's Instagram.
So my buffalo, they just really wanted to see the other side with that live life.
But Antoinette is concerned about other Instagram posts from Ross alluding to the fact that lions might be next to move on to the property.
If he's a real boss, then at that point, control your animal and supervise your staff. That's it.
Thanks, Candace. Ross did not respond to a request from CNN for comments. It looks like Bad Bunny's bad relationships could land him in court. The Puerto Rican rapper and singer, whose name is Benito Martinez Ocasio, is being sued by the ex-girlfriend for $40 million. Carlis de la Cruz Hernandez accusing the artist of using her voice in 2 songs without her consent. Her attorney registered a lawsuit in San Juan, Puerto Rico, back on March 1st. No word on an expected court date for the lawsuit. Neither Ocasio nor his representatives have responded to the allegations made against him. That's all for this week's news and entertainment. And now back to you in the studio, Evan.
Thanks, Chris. Applications are being accepted from students interested in serving on the Hayward Youth Commission. The city is speaking to students eager to represent interests, needs, and concerns of Hayward community youths, as well as provide input to elected officials of the City of Hayward, the Hayward Area Recreation and Park District, and the Hayward Unified School District about issues that affect youths. Youth commissioners responsibilities include attending meetings that will take place in person on the second Monday of each month from September to June, and working on special projects addressing issues of concern to youth. To qualify, students must be between 13 and 20 years old at the time of appointment and live in the City of Hayward or within the boundaries of the Hayward Unified School District. Applications are available online by visiting the city's website or by calling the city clerk's office at 510-583-4400 between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. The deadline for submitting applications is Friday, May 19th. If you live in the Bay Area and your natural gas-powered water heater stops working after 2027, you will be required to install an electric model instead. Bay Area regulators voted on March 15th to adopt rules to phase out the sale and installation of natural gas furnaces and water heaters over the next 8 years, one of the most ambitious plans in the country to replace gas appliances with electric alternatives. The rules, approved by the Bay Area Air Quality Management District, are meant to reduce air pollution from some of the worst home appliance offenders. The main pollutants targeted are nitrogen oxides, or NOx, which can cause acid rain and smog, as well as increase the risk for asthma and other respiratory diseases. People will be able to repair their gas appliances if they break, but the rules take effect when existing gas-powered furnaces or water heaters no longer work and need to be replaced. New construction will also be required to have zero NOx, effectively electric furnaces and water heaters. The Alameda County Coroner's Bureau is working to contact over 100 families after bodies and cremated remains were found at a warehouse linked to a suspected Hayward cremation business. A total of 6 bodies and 154 cremated remains were found in the Hayward warehouse. Officials are working to reunite the remains with families in 15 different counties. The warehouse is linked to Ocean View cremations. The sheriff's office says the investigation began after several complaints from customers to the California Cemetery and Funeral Bureau. Yelp reviews accuse the company of waiting months to cremate bodies, holding ashes for years, and refusing to return customers' calls after taking their money. The state is investigating. However, it's unclear if the owner will face any criminal charges. Now we go to Bruce with this week's sport report. Bruce?
Thanks, Evan. We start this week with Wayne Rooney, the legendary former England captain, coach of Major League Soccer's DC United. He has been named as the manager of the Major League Soccer All-Stars, and it's been announced they're set to take on English Premier League leaders Arsenal, who could just be crowned champions before they line up against each other on July 19th. Here's what he had to say in an interview with CNN.
I've played in the All-Star game on both sides, played for Manchester United a few years back in it, and then played for the All-Stars against Atletico Madrid. So now to have my third involvement in it as coach, it's exciting. I think it's always an exciting game for the fans, and it's obviously tradition over here in the States, so it's an exciting game to be part of, and obviously with it being Arsenal, it makes me a bit more excited because it's a challenge. It'd be a tough game, but a game which we'll set up to try and go and win.
Yeah, I bet you're relishing taking on Arsenal. How for you has this fixture grown in stature over the years? Because it just seems to keep getting bigger and bigger, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and I think for the players, the MLS players, of course, I think it's, and I haven't played in that team. You see how much it is an honour for them players to get picked for the game, and but I think everything around the game was also has really improved in terms of the 2 days before the different events which take place before the game actually happens has really improved. So and then you have the game, which to get a team like Arsenal potentially coming over as Premier League champions, I think it'll be a great game, great for the fans to see so many good players on the pitch, and especially for young children. I think it'll be 2 or 3 days to come out and see the different events. And obviously the skills day the day before is really enjoyable, and then the game. So I think it's great that it's in DC. Great that I'm involved in it, and great for everyone who can attend and obviously watch it around the world.
What do people say to you back in England about the growth of Major League Soccer and the growth of football, or soccer if you prefer, in general? What do they say to you about its growth?
If I'm being honest, I think back in England, I don't think they really understand the quality which is in this league. I think having Apple come in as well will help with that. But no, I think the league has certainly improved even from when I was here. As a player, there's so much ability, so much quality within the league, and I think we're starting to see more players coming over from Europe. A lot of players, obviously, from South America come over, but we're starting to see more players from Europe come over at earlier ages. It's getting becoming a really exciting league, and so it's great to be a part of it. In my development and me trying to develop DC United, it's a good period in my career to be here and try and improve myself as well.
You know a thing or two, of course, about beating Arsenal over the years. How tough will they be to beat? Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a very tough game. They're a very good team, and we see what they're doing now in the Premier League. They're very consistent with the performances and results, so it'd be a difficult game, of course. And I've played in this game for Manchester United. They'll obviously be in their pre-season when the game happens, and we know DC is very hot and humid in the summer, so we need to try and use that to our advantage to win the game. I'm going to take you back to 2002, if you don't mind, Wayne. You were 16 and you scored that goal for Everton against then champions Arsenal. Your first Premier League goal. It was a sensational one. What do you remember about that day and that goal?
Yeah, I was frustrated actually because I was on the bench for that game. So I wanted to start the game and I didn't. And they had a fantastic team. Obviously, all the superstars they had: Henry, Bergkamp, Sol Campbell, Vieira. A very strong team. And remember coming on, the game was 1-1. And just thinking, if I get an opportunity to shoot, I'm going to, because it'd be great to try and score my first Premier League goal, but also to beat Arsenal. And thankfully, I managed to get the space. I took the shot and it goes in. So, yeah, it's certainly a moment and a goal I will never forget.
What did it feel like, that moment? Well, it's still a teenager. Yeah,
it was crazy, obviously, as a 16-year-old to score against David Seaman and England #1, and someone I grew up watching. It felt a bit strange at first, but it was an incredible feeling, and to score for your boyhood club, your first Premier League goal, but also it being the winning goal against Arsenal, best team in the country at the time, was it was crazy. But yeah, as I said, it's certainly one of my highlights and best moments, and a goal which I'll never forget.
What an honor. We look forward to the Major League Soccer All-Star Game later this summer. Finally, this week in sports, don't worry, I'm fine. That's the message Shaquille O'Neal is sending his fans. After many of them became worried when they saw on a social media post that he was in the hospital, the NBA legend took to Instagram Monday, thanking everyone for their concern. While assuring them he's okay, he wrote, and quote, "Just had to get some BBL work done," aka hashtag hip replacement. "But yes, I'm fine. No need to worry." BBL is an acronym for Brazilian butt lift. O'Neal's reassuring post came after he tweeted a photo of himself hooked up to machines in a hospital bed over the weekend. Glad to see he hasn't lost his sense of humor. That's it for sports news this week. Back to you, Evan.
Thanks, Bruce. March 17th was St. Patrick's Day. It's the day everyone gets to be Irish in spirit while celebrating the nation's culture, music, and Gaelic heritage. The annual observance of March 17th recognizes Ireland's patron saint, a Christian missionary who converted the Irish people to Christianity. Born in Britain in 385 AD, St. Patrick was brought to Ireland as a slave at age 16. 6 years later, he escaped to a French monastery, became a priest, and returned to Ireland. Legend has it he drove the snakes out of Ireland, but of course, that's merely a legend. Biologists say Ireland never had any native snakes. The ubiquity of the color green on St. Patrick's Day is a nod to Ireland's nickname, the Emerald Isle. And as for the three-leaf clover, or shamrock, legend has it St. Patrick used it to explain the concept of Christianity's Holy Trinity. I hope you all had a wonderful St. Patrick's Day. If you're old enough to remember mixing Sunny D with vodka, looking at you, younger Gen X and older millennials, then this is the drink for you. Sunny D Vodka Seltzer is a beverage with a bold orange flavor, sold in a slim 12-ounce can that are made with real fruits and lower in alcohol. It's also low in calories, with only 95 per serving and has 0 grams of sugar. The flavor is about as straightforward as it gets. It tastes like Sunny D and vodka. Sunny D Vodka Seltzer just went on the market last weekend, so you can be one of the first in your neighborhood to give it a try. Finally, the Chabot TV extended family has a passing to note. Our executive producer, Tom Lothian, has the story.
Last week, Chabot TV and the Bay Area television community lost one of the best engineers. Rocky Robinson passed away on March 14th, at the age of 49. Rocky started at Chabot College as a student and was later hired on as a member of the Chabot TV staff. His passion was Star Trek, and he was a master of all things audio and video. He had a successful podcast, Starfleet Underground. There are 2 things that I'll remember most about Rocky. First, he was always kind to everyone. He took the time to explain complex engineering topics so anyone could understand. Or once, while a student at Chabot College, he took the time to help Denny, a blind student, edit audio for a class project in KCRH, in the process making a lifelong friend. And second, he loved media production. He dedicated his life to it. He worked here at Chabot TV, TV 580, and Penn TV, and started his own company just a few years ago. I considered myself fortunate to have worked with Rocky on and off over the past few years to upgrade the equipment in KCRH. We had our next project scheduled for April. Although he hasn't been directly involved with Chabot TV for many years, his influence is still felt here. I attribute my choice to pursue teaching at Chabot College to the influence of 2 people, one of whom was Rocky Robinson. If you are able, the family's requested donations to a GoFundMe set up in his name.
Thanks, Tom. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family and friends. That's all for Chabot News this week. Thanks to all the students and staff in the Mass Communications Department here at Chabot College for making this production possible. You can watch us anytime online at youtube.com/Chabot TV. Stay tuned to the KCTH Channel 27 for more Chabot TV.